Mm-hmm.
Yes. Voila. All right. So good morning, world, and welcome back to the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Yes, world, we are back like a shark attack, back like we left some, back like we ain't got no clothes on our back, and for the world is a better place when the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast is taking place. And so we thank you all for tuning in with us this morning as we conversate about the latest sports topics that have taken place from this past week and will be upcoming this week. It is always a blast to have you all tune in to participate with us every weekend. Good morning, Deshaun. Good morning, bro. As a reminder that every week we always like to begin our podcast by reminding our audience that the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast can be found on Facebook via the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast community page, on Instagram at the Early Morning Sports Talk Pod, again on IG at the Early Morning Sports Talk Pod, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify as the Early Morning Sports Talk Podcast, as well as our own Facebook pages via Brandon Price, Jamar Goodman, Ian Jones, as well as our guest for this weekend, Mr. Chris Ford. Today is April 8th of 2023, and we have seen yet again another fascinating week in the sports world. What we saw, the national championship take place in women's and men's basketball, and boy, were they both a treat. We saw superstars born in Adama Sangayo with UConn. We saw a supporting cast with UConn. We saw a great Final Four that took place last weekend with San Diego State in a classic game, hit a buzzer beater against Florida Atlantic. And then we saw UConn pretty much just dominate the whole weekend. Another blue blood program that got its 5th national championship in the last 25 years. We additionally saw Caitlin Clark do great things last Friday, but it came to an end last Sunday in which Angel Reese and the ladies, Kim Mulkey from LSU, did an epic game. They pretty much dominated a very talented Iowa basketball team. And I really got a chance to see how quick Iowa can score. But LSU, every time they came back, they responded. And then, of course, we had the epic moment in which Caitlin Clark, she did the John Cena, but Angel Reese got her back last Sunday. And so as a result, you done had sports world blowing up. But those two young ladies from LSU, they have taken the reins. Angel Reese and her supporting cast, and they've been doing interviews. They've been getting love, etc. Because it's been idiots out there, Keith Olbermans, etc., that have been literally showing how racist they are. And so we're very proud of these young ladies here on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. And they held it down, and they are national champions, bringing the first basketball national championship to LSU, in which, of course, we know that as a football school. And so on the other hand, we see the playoff chase in the thick of things, in which the Milwaukee Bucks and Denver Nuggets have clinched the top seeds in their respective conferences. The LA Clippers took care of the LA Lakers for the 11th straight time. And so now the LA Lakers are looking at a very strong possibility of being in the play-in, whereas the Clippers will take on the Baby Kings and put themselves in a great position to have a first-round playoff victory. On the other hand, Major League Baseball has kicked off. My Chicago White Sox are off to a 3-5 start. It's not the best start. We are struggling again with some of the same things that we've struggled with in the past. And the Chicago Cubs are off to a 3-3 start, and they're off to a decent start, and they look like they're a team that has a lot of pride. And so, with that being said, let's get into introducing our guest for this morning, our brother, Mr. Chris Ford, whom joins us this morning, not for the first time on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, not for the second time, and not for the third time. And so we welcome our brother back to the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, Mr. Chris Ford. Good morning, my brother, and welcome back to EMSTP. How are you this morning, my friend?
Good morning, good people. I'm doing good, man. Appreciate you having me here to talk baseball as always, man. Looking forward to the season for sure.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes, thank you for joining us, my brother. And introducing my brother from another mother and one of my partners on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, Mr. Jamar Goodman. Good morning, sir. How are you?
And Brandon, I was doing excellent until, before we got on air, somebody wanted to put on some nasty blue and red stuff over there. But nevertheless, I'm all right. I'm hanging in there.
Hey, y'all, FYI, we'll be dealing with a lot of Sox versus Cubs this morning, but it's all out of love. And so, yes. And with that being said, our brother Ian Jones will make it with us this morning, but we send a love to you, my bro. And so with that being said, let's get right into it, fellas. All right, let's start with Major League Baseball. We're going to get into all the other shenanigans that have occurred this week, and we will. But we cover all sports here on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. And so we know Chris Ford, you got your Chicago Cubs gear on right now. Okay, we see you with your hat and your jersey. And Jamar, we see you with your Chicago White Sox gear on. And so we see you rocking all your gear. And so right now in the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, as we always do, we support our Chicago sports. And so the world wants to know, Chris Ford, what are your expectations for your Chicago Cubs this season? Are there any players to watch for the Cubs this season? And just what do you think, what do you hope happens this season? Of course, we hope you get a World Series, but what are your expectations for the Cubs realistically this season? And is there just anything about the Cubs that we need to watch for this season?
Oh, good. All good questions. So my expectations for this year aren't extremely high. I think they're going to be somewhere around a 500 team, and it'll really just depend on. For me, it'll depend on if the pitching holds up. We got Marcus Stroman. He's started off hot, man. He looks good. It looks real good. I like him. I like his swag. I like the way he approaches the game. He's 2-0 right now. Hasn't given up a run yet. So if he can lead that pitching staff, I think that they got a shot at actually maybe sneaking into the wild card. It's a kind of a rebuild team. You got some guys who are trying to find their way back into being productive baseball players like Cody Bellinger, Eric Hosmer.
Yeah.
Ian Happ actually had a
him.
really good year last year, man.
He's a good player.
Trey Mancini. That's a guy you always want in your locker room. And I think those three guys in general, Cody, Eric, and Trey Mancini, like our season really, really, really hinges on how well they can do on the offensive end. Defensively, they're all great. But offensively, if they can hold up, man, we got a shot to make a little bit of noise. The biggest player to watch and the dude I'm happy about for sure is Dansby Swanson.
Yeah.
He coming from the Braves, Gold Glove shortstop. He's off to a great start offensively, man. Just a hitting machine right now. He ain't missing nothing. I actually watching the game last night with him and Nico Horner up the middle, man. You might as well chalk it up as a double play every time you hit a ground ball, man. They like poetry there. I can watch it all day.
Right.
But it's just a bunch of different things. Go ahead.
No, I was just, wondering. And so with the Cubs, you got Cody, you got Ian, you got Dansby, etc. But me and Jamar, we're thinking, we're not even looking at each other. You stated that the Cubs got a chance to get the wild card. Keep in mind that the NL Central is pretty good. And so you got the St. Louis Cardinals, and then, of course, you got Milwaukee. Now, that's not to mention, Pittsburgh possibly overtake Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, they've been whooping on the Sox. And then additionally, in the NL Central, you got the what's the other team, y'all? We got
Cincinnati Reds.
Cincinnati
Brewers.
And so Cincinnati is always around 2. You think the Cubs still will have a chance at the wild card, being that generally it's one team that wins the division, which we might say likely, y'all, that'll be Milwaukee. And then generally, as always stated, it's St. Louis that's around there for that wild card. Do you think that the Cubs are just as good as the St. Louis Cardinals? Because the St. Louis Cardinals got about 3 players in the top 20 in baseball.
No, yeah, absolutely. They Paul Goldschmidt
Arenado.
is great. No, Nolan Arenado, huge fan. Dude makes crazy plays all the time. They got my boy over there now, man, Wilson Contreras.
Yep.
Which was tough to swallow, but I don't think their pitching is that great. I mean, one, when you lose a guy like Yadier Molina, it hurts. Even if you replace him with a guy like, Wilson Contreras, using Yadier Molina hurts. And then I just think that, man, like Adam Wainwright is old. He's good. He's old, man. He gonna run out of gas soon. He was actually supposed to retire, and they're so bad at pitching that they had to ask him to come back for one more year.
Right.
But again, it is St. Louis. I know the history for sure, but I do think that we can compete with them for sure. Okay. And with that extra wild card spot, man, and that's my main reason behind it. They got that extra wild card spot, and I think the Cubs can be close enough to have a shot at it.
So I'm not taking shots. I'm just more so maybe they do, but I'm also thinking of teams in the in the NL East. Like 4 of those teams is usually somewhere competitive within that wild card spot. And then you got the NL West, which is usually 3 teams loaded all the time. So, I mean, so I'm just guessing what you're saying is the ceiling of the Cubs can be somewhere in that stratosphere to compete for one of those spots amongst those teams.
Absolutely. So you're looking at last year, and last year's team, nobody expected them to be good at all. Okay. But they were actually pretty decent. I mean, for what they had to put on the field, it wasn't as bad as it looked. And they actually were only like, I want to say, 5 games out of the wild card spot when it all was said and done, which honestly, for me, it was a shock and it was interesting. So just like what we brought in and what we were able to do with last year's team, David Ross did a great job. If we can get like those Cody Bellinger, Trey Mancini, if we can get Eric Hosmer to hold up, man, I think we got a shot.
Yeah. We appreciate everything you stated about the Cubs. I love both teams, Chris. I fly the W, and I'm South Side all day. So I love both squads. But if I had to choose, of course, I choose my Sox. But I love the Cubs because when you go to the Cubs game, Jamar, you get a great experience. It is a fun time. You love everything about just being up there, getting beers, getting food, all that good stuff. It provides you a great experience compared to the White Sox Stadium. But, I got a place in my heart for the Chicago Cubs doing. So I'm hoping that things turn out well for the Chicago Cubs, because right now they are doing better, Jamar, than your Chicago White Sox. And so we need you to make a case for the Chicago White Sox, bro. And so what are your expectations for the Chicago White Sox this season? We have gotten rid of Mr. Tony La Russa, Mr. DUI. He is no longer the coach. And so we got a fresh, brand new coach. Our starting pitcher right now is struggling. We tend to be a pretty decent team at hitting the ball, although we lost Bobby Abreu. You see that we're giving up a lot of runs, Jamar. We gave up 13 runs to Pittsburgh, and then the previous day we gave up 12 runs. And then the previous series, we gave up like 14 runs. And so that's a concern here. And so we're 3-5. So Jamar, what are your expectations? Chris just got a cold face here when you talk about the league. He's just looking at you right now. What are your expectations?
Man, so I almost want to hit you all with the Aaron Rodgers RELAX, but I can't fully like put my stamp on that because once again, Brandon, pitching is an issue. But part of me wants to say we've had a tough schedule starting out already. I mean, the first 4 games was against the defending champs. We split them. And if you actually looked at that series, like we had a shot to actually probably win that series 3-1, or even had a chance to come out with all 4 against the Astros. San Francisco, San Francisco, that's another story. That like, my gosh, I think outside of Dylan Cease, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Giolito, he can go. He can go. He's not what he was a couple years ago.
Yeah,
I think that ship definitely sailed. Hitting, you definitely. That's one of the strong suits, and it has been for the last couple of years. I mean, Luis Robert Jr. playing out of his mind right now. Mercado is batting pretty well. Tim Anderson has gotten better and better and better at hitting the ball over the years. It doesn't help that Eloy Jimenez is, hurt right now, and we also missing Liam Hendriks. I mean, that's a big part of our staff too. So It's just more so weathering the storm right now. Like I was at work yesterday, and the person I work with, he's from Pittsburgh. He's a Pirates fan. So he was watching the game, and we was going back and forth. And I'm sitting here in the middle of something, and he was like, oh, triple it, and all bases cleared on the error too. We up 12 to something. I'm like, oh my Lord. So it's giving up all these runs is not a good thing right now. It's very extreme. Something got to give. But as far as expectations, I still expect our team to compete for the AL Central. Last year, we definitely underachieved so bad. That was supposed to be our division to win, and we gave that up quickly. It was embarrassing to watch our team last year. I'm thinking with, new manager, Pedro, I forgot his full name, but I'm thinking, these guys actually, play a little bit harder. Hopefully base running is a lot better this year than what it was last year. Hopefully just the fundamentals and discipline is a lot better this year. But like I said, I still expect us to compete for the AL Central because I don't expect us, if we don't win the Central, I don't expect us to get a wild card. Division still, I think, not as strong as the others, but nevertheless, I still think we got a chance.
Right. And this is factual. The AL Central's not that strong, bro. Like, we sit there and think about it, it's really not that strong. Like, last year, we were supposed to win that division. We was even at a point, remember, Jamar, thinking at the Sox, they're going to come back and win the division. They're going to come back, they'll come back. But they never came back. They fell short. And so, the White Sox manager, by the way, bro, is Pedro Grifol. Pedro Grifol. He is the White Sox manager. And one thing I always like to state, fellas, is, and we've seen this in baseball, first-year managers are often a success in baseball. And so hopefully that could fare well for us, because generally, if you got a decent team and you can get around the wild card, you got a first-year manager. It's like somehow them other teams, it'd be hard for them to figure out that new manager. And so we see Isaac Guillen, he led us to the World Series his first year as a manager. And so possibly that could translate to Pedro. And so, yes, fly to W, South Side. We want to talk about the Sox. We want to talk about the Cubs. And so,
Shout out to Liam Hendriks.
Okay.
Shout out to Liam Hendriks, man. Beating cancer like that. That's great. That's an important part for y'all. But just that in general, man. Being able to ring that bell and know that you beat cancer, that's huge.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And he back, man. Thank you for that, bro. Thank you for that. On the other hand, Chris, let's talk about the rankings in baseball. And so we need for you to sort out who's the best player in baseball, because my biggest problem is people still think that Mike Trout's the best player in baseball.
Oh, here we go.
That's your guy.
Here we go.
I don't think he's the best player in baseball, but you got
absolutely not.
You got folks that just swear he is. And so they are mad that Shohei Ohtani is ranked, according to the MLB network. And so Right now, we got Shohei Ohtani. Man, this guy at best, I think, fellas, could be the maybe top 3 in hitting and pitching. That's how good he is. And
Oh,
so
he's fantastic.
he's fantastic, isn't he? And if it wasn't for a great campaign, an all-time campaign, y'all, by Aaron Judge last year, we very well could have saw Shohei Ohtani again as the AL MVP. But as we know, last year went to our boy Aaron Judge in New York. So we got Shohei Ohtani, we got Aaron Judge, who ranked number 2. We got Mike Trout, who ranked number 3.
Oh, they fixed it.
Yeah. He's I mean, most hitters envy him, right? Like they want to hit like this man. This man is, he was a base runner early in his career, right? He did everything. Now he's like becoming a slugger, low key, fellas. Mookie Betts, who I viewed as the best player in baseball last year, because he does everything. And so, he coming off his Gold Glove, etc. Manny Machado, and that's what we talking about, Jamar. We talking about like the talented NL West, man. You got the Dodgers, you got the Diamondbacks, you got the Padres. Padres, made the NLCS last year? And so, the Dodgers last year had the best record in baseball all year, and they was the World Series favorite. And so, Arenado from the Cardinals.
That was a more that was more of a reputation thing. I think the Dodgers did not look good last year.
You talking about in the playoff, but they had the best record all year last year.
Yeah, that was a fluke.
It was just a fluke, and you keep in mind that they had the most talented roster. They had pretty much an all-star roster. Remember, they bought all the great players. Freddie Freeman's of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. No, the roster top to bottom. I mean, it always looks pretty good, man. But just like they did, one of my buddies always says they got to pass the eye test. They definitely didn't pass the eye test for me at all last year. As like somebody who was going to go in, dominate the playoffs, and make it to a World Series.
That's crazy. Don't they have like 4 former MVPs on that team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
Mookie. Yeah, fellas. Mookie, you got of course Clayton, you got Freddie, and you got one of the other guys. I can't, Trey Turner or some, or
he gone.
It's another hitter, man. I can't remember. Maybe we go down this list.
Well, they had Turner, and then Will Smith.
Okay.
And Max Muncy.
Max Muncy, that's who I'm thinking about. Wasn't that dude like World Series MVP a couple years ago?
Yeah,
when
man. He was he's a big guy for them.
Yeah. He's a hitter. All right, y'all. So Nolan Arenado got the Cardinals. Then Paul Goldschmidt right behind him. Jose Ramirez for the Guardians. Alvarez, Freddie. And so then Trey Turner, Juan Soto. Okay. Trey Turner for the Phillies, Juan Soto for the Padres. Shout out to Sandy Alcantara. He's a nice pitcher, man. That dude won NL Cy Young last year. Verlander's still up there. This is amazing. Max.
He's gonna drown out there in Miami, man. They need to get that dude out of there.
Oh yeah, because he not, he basically pitching for a trash team. Julio Rodriguez, shout out to that kid. Changed the Mariners franchise, led them to the playoffs last year. We know about Bryce Harper. We know about Vlad. Only thing with Vlad, man, is
can we talk about the disrespect?
Okay.
Talk about the disrespect to my boy, man.
To Bryce?
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of this is the most disrespectful ranking I ever seen. What is it? 17? And they've changed this since they came out with it because he wasn't even in the top 50 at first.
Oh, wow.
17 is a little better, but let's be real here, man. There's no way that Bryce Harper's not in the top 5. He's a top 5 baseball player all day, every day of the week.
Top
It's not even
five?
close. Top 5.
Top five.
Easy. Top
Wait,
5.
so you put him above Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani.
Not above Aaron Judge and Shohei. But
you put him above Mookie Betts. He better than Mookie Betts. And he better than Manny Machado.
I'm not gonna say better. I'm not gonna say. I'm absolutely taking over Manny Machado all day, for sure.
And I think I remember you saying,
you're
taking Bryce Harper over Mike Trout too.
Every day of the week, in my sleep, when I wake up in the morning.
I love
it. So in this case, you
24 hours straight. If the game is on the line and I get to choose between Mike Trout and Bryce Harper, I'm taking Bryce Harper every time.
I agree. He
every
clutch
time.
as hell. He clutch. It's like when that moment get big, yeah, Bryce Harper never fold. That's facts right there, bro.
In the WBC, you got the best player in the world, man, and he got dominated in his last at bat. He had 3 strikeouts in that game. I guarantee you championship, and he for sure is not getting embarrassed on 3 pitches. He got embarrassed, bro.
Yeah.
2 meatball fastballs right down the middle, and as soon as he swung at both of those, I was like, he about to break him off with that slider, and it wasn't even close. He looked silly.
Right by his teammate too.
Give me Bryce Harper.
Yeah, right by his teammate too.
Give me Bryce Harper.
His teammate probably knew what to do against him. He knew what Mike Trout can't do. And that's why he did what he did with those pitches.
Yeah, man, he gave him some stuff and embarrassed him, man. And it was a clutch moment too. We needed a clutch moment, and he just did not show up. He did not
Absolutely. Show up. Not at all.
We needed
he started out high
in our country.
When we needed him, he wasn't. Yeah. And Bryce, the one thing I love about Bryce Harper, man, is he really never looking to always pull the ball, and I think that's why he one of the best hitters in the league, is because he'll hit the ball to all fields. So that's what makes Shohei and Aaron and Mookie all like super talented, great hitters, is because they always really looking to hit the ball the other way. Always.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So same with Bryce. They're always looking to hit the ball the other way. So they never get beat back really anything, because that approach just keeps you on the ball, man. Bryce Harper has hit some of the craziest opposite field home runs I've ever seen. For sure.
Yeah. His run last year, man, and he wanted that ring last year. He came up short, but it was a joy watching the Phillies in the playoffs last year in their World Series run. It was a pleasure, man. When they needed clutch moments, that man showed up. He showed up, man.
And then on top of it, I remember when, he signed that contract, and, it was like, why, people was criticizing him, criticizing the contract. And, for a while, people was thinking he wasn't living up to the contract. But, sure enough, when he had the opportunity, he definitely gave it everything that he got. And nobody expected the Phillies to make the run the way they did last year at a certain point. So that was definitely, really good for them and him. And like in your case for Bryce Harper, I'm not mad at it whatsoever.
Yeah,
he got
his career needed that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
He won an MVP the year before. Made a World Series run the next year. Mike Trout barely even been in the playoffs, G.
Right. So I don't know how the hell he can get these rankings. Like, ain't
I get it.
Like, people have went to the playoffs once and got ousted real quick.
It's a team game. You got a lot of people you got to depend on, man. But you the best player in the and he also chose to stay there. too. That's what I think that's what really put me over the edge with this dude. Like
Right.
if it's so bad there that he can't win, why did he choose to sign there for eternity? He could have went anywhere else. Dude don't want to win.
That Malibu lifestyle, man.
Maybe that's what it is.
Dude don't want to win.
Maybe that's what it
Hey,
is.
you know, he reminds me of and I know he has a way better career than this guy, but he reminds me of, remember Nnamdi Asomugha when he was deemed like the best corner with the Raiders, and it's like he just kept like, and there was Champ Bailey, there was these other corners, but Nnamdi Asomugha was deemed the best corner in football. And I'm sitting here like, why?
I remember that.
And then he goes to Philly for that year, and that was the end of his career. That was it.
He got exposed in Philly. Yep. Absolutely. He's an actor now today.
I remember that.
Yeah. No, he has a couple great movies.
No, it's just funny that he had to change careers like that. That's wild. But yeah, that's what this reminds me of. I know Trout is better than that, but that's what it feels like to me.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. I get the comparison.
Yeah, man. I tell y'all what. I'm tired of the LA Angels coming up short with all this talent. You got two, and this is for the second year in a row, fellas. You got last year, it was 1 and 2. Okay. Shohei was 1, Mike was 2. People were pissed off last year, Jamar. No, Mike is number 1. Mike number 1. You know, and now this year they still pissed off. But Shohei is a number 1. Aaron, broke the cycle, and now Mike is number 3. You got literally for the last few years, you got 2 of the best baseball players in baseball. I don't give a damn about your roster. At some point in time, you got to do something. You have to do something, okay? You got Hunter Renfroe, okay? You went out, you got Jake Lamb. These guys ain't no scrubs. Like, these guys can play.
Their roster ain't as bad as people make it seem either, man.
Yeah.
Their roster is not as bad as people make it seem.
Absolutely.
They gotta quit. They quit making excuses for that dude.
Right. And look, I'm not saying they have to win the division, because I know, the Stros are there, and I think Seattle's up and coming, but at least get in the wild card, right? You could at least do that.
At least do that.
With this superior talent top end.
Playoffs, bro.
It's ridiculous. Like there's no way. Like Brandon, we were talking about this last year entering the season. Like you got all this top end talent and can't even sniff the playoffs. And I get it, it's a team game, there's a lot of different components that go into it, but it's still at the end of the day, you got one guy that is, apparently generation talent for like the last 10 years, it feels like, that everybody keeps saying. Then you got another guy who we haven't seen since Babe Ruth, as far as a two-way player out here just dominating both sides of the ball. So it's like you can't figure everything else out. Right.
Come on. Like, come on. Not even sniffing the playoffs, really? Like, come on.
I hope Shohei leaves after this year.
Shohei will be a Cub next year. It's all good. We'll take him up.
I heard he's coming to the South Side, but
Yeah, it was rumors.
No, coming to Chicago, baby.
Yeah, honestly, I don't care which side he goes to. I just want him in Chicago. In all honesty.
Yeah, it'd be great to see, man. It'd be great to see. And so Louis Rengifo is no scrub. These guys can play. These guys have had a lot of success with other teams. They brought in like a lot of new talent. So, and then they still got a nucleus. And so it's time to win. We tired of seeing the same results with this team. But yet they get all these accolades every year for awards and stuff, but they don't win a damn thing. And so I'm tired of seeing it personally. And so we'll see, man. On the other hand, fellas, let's now progress into a different sport. And the reason being is because we got to talking about the LA Angels and we got to talking about Mike Trout. And we just got to talking about the same stuff we talked about for the last, 3 to 4 years. We do this every year on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. We know we did it last year, and we did it 2 years. We did it the year before
Yeah.
that.
Ever since our existence,
Right.
we've been talking about it.
We said the same thing. And so, it's time to produce some wins. It's time to get into the playoffs. It'll be good for baseball, right, Chris? If the Angels are in the playoffs with
come
two of
on.
these top talent.
Right. If the Rays can get there, they should be able to get there.
Right. And so it'd be nice to see. And so, yeah. All right, fellas, let's progress. On the other hand, we had a situation that occurred, fellas, with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Okay. And so
I'm going to talk about this.
With Angel Reese, we talking women hoops, bro. Angel Reese gave Caitlin Clark the John Cena, right? And she did it after they put a butt whooping on Iowa. It was a great game, man. If y'all had a chance to watch that national championship game, it was fireworks galore. I was really impressed, man, by Iowa. They can score the ball, Chris. They can score the ball. They put up buckets. But one thing about LSU, Jamar, is that they just came back. They played a very fundamental game. They kind of reminded me of like a San Antonio. Like, it was not pretty, nothing they did, but it was just very effective. And there was a lot of pretty plays from Iowa. And so Angel Reese, shout out to them. But as you know, guys know, she did the John Cena and the world just blew up. Folks got pissed off. But it was so interesting that prior to Caitlin Clark did the John Cena to South Carolina in Alea, Boston, and nobody said nothing. The world says she got swag, and they said, she's just out there being a competitor. But then when Angel Reese do it, you got Keith Olbermann calling her effing idiot. You got other individuals out there in the sports world calling Angel Reese out of her name. This is a young girl in college, okay? And they're calling her out of her name, cussing at her, saying all type of derogatives, etc. And so, fellas, got a question for y'all, man. What did you guys think of this situation? So, Jamar, you chime in, and Chris, you can go next. And then next we'll get to Jill Biden. So, Jamar, man, what are your thoughts on this situation? I know you've been waiting on this all week.
All right, I've been waiting on this all week. Look, I feel like for starters, there's a bunch of hypocrites out here. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. If you, so here's what it is. If you're for that type of competitive banter, the taunting, fine, just be all right with it across the board. Me, I love it. I love it when Caitlin did it, but I also love it when Angel did it back to her face. I love it. But don't sit here and say that you're okay with Caitlin doing it all. She's just, showing a competitive spirit, and this is a lovely darling for the women's basketball. And then when Angel does it all, she's, there's no sportsmanship. No, like, stop it. And then I'm listening to callers all week. I listen to talk radio on my way to work, and, there was, some people was calling in like, no, it was different. She did it while she was, walking. Caitlin does it while she was walking away. Not like, no, stop it. Stop it. I usually don't go here, but I feel like there's a racial aspect to this, because that's what it feels like. I kid you not. Because had it been the other way around, if Angel was doing it first and then Caitlin does it back to her, I guarantee it would not have been, the fireworks that we're getting right now. It would not have been. It would have been more of a positive stir to it, just based on how everything goes. So if you're okay with Caitlin doing it, then by default, you have to be okay with Angel doing it. If you have a problem with that, then yeah, you are a big hypocrite. And I honestly feel like it's a racial aspect to it, because had Angel probably be another, ethnicity that's probably similar to Caitlin's, and then maybe it won't be as bad. We probably wouldn't have been blown up as much. But since she's, from the hood, since she, from the ghetto, whatever she said in that press conference.
Yep.
She called him out. So at the end of the day, hey, LSU won. And if you didn't like, and the last thing I'm gonna say, if you're a competitor, if you don't want that happen to you, you don't want the taunting happen to you, what you do is you actually go out there and beat the opponent so they can't do that.
Right.
Plain and simple. That's all I got.
Facts.
Yeah. Chris, man, what are your thoughts towards this situation, bro?
First of all, let me start with this world we live in, man, is borderline disgusting. It really is. I think I'm at my limit, man, with the world we live in these days. You know, they tell you not to go in the comment section, and then so you find your way into the comment section. You see some things that they say about people and the way they say things about people, and it's just disgusting.
Right.
I absolutely 120% love everything about what happened with women's basketball this year and during this NCAA tournament. It was fantastic. Okay. All the show, honestly, I was like, the first thing I noticed about Caitlin Clark outside of she's just a walking bucket, okay, is the taunting thing. And I was like, oh, right. That's the one thing it stands out with her big, man. Big. And I was like, people like her still. Like, I know she's putting up numbers, but a lot of people don't usually like cocky and showboating. Okay. But they celebrated it. And then I got, started, watching Angel Reese more. And I was like, man, this is another girl who does the same type of stuff. Always, that's who she is. And I'm all for athletes being who they are. If that's who you are and you can back it up, go right ahead. And I never had a problem with anything Caitlin did. So I absolutely didn't have a problem with anything Angel did. And maybe she a little bit more in your face. And I think that's because of the culture. I mean, that's just who we are as a people. We a lot more in your face, right? So for her to go and get in her face and do the John Cena and, tap the finger for the ring, I just felt like it was so similar, but she so comfortable with herself to put herself in that moment. Like, maybe Caitlin's just not. They two different people. You can't expect them to be the same. But everything was so similar, period. Like the taunting, everything. It was always there, man, between the both of them. That's why I wanted this matchup. I was begging for this matchup on Facebook, man. The world, I felt like the world needed it. And I felt like women's basketball needed those two to be in the national championship against each other.
X.
And it just sucks that the world decided that type of game and how it ended, which is exactly the way it should have ended, whether it was who was winning, is somebody taunting somebody else, that they decided to turn it into something basically racial and not celebrate the game as a whole like it should be.
Right. Yeah.
I got daughters, man. I got a house full of daughters, and the women's sports don't get enough credit. They don't. Women's sports don't get enough credit. So not only was this important for like the game itself, but just like for my kids in general. Like it was so important for women's sports, and then we decided we want to go and do this. It's crazy.
It is, man. It really is. So you see all the competitive sports stuff, fellas, on the court. You see what happened. Angel Reese got her back, etc. But what really took it to the next level for me, fellas, was after the game. You literally go to our nation's capital, and you see the First Lady of the United States, Jill Biden. She put out comments stating, and I've never heard this, y'all. that Iowa plays such a great game, okay, that we should invite both teams to the White House because Iowa and the girls played so hard. And so, fellas, I want your comments on this because this is a first timer. I've never heard this. I don't know when we started doing this. It was even stated by Joe Biden himself. He called his wife comments a joke. That's what he said. Okay.
Yeah, because it was trash. It
Yeah,
was trash.
he called
Yeah.
his wife comments a joke. An LSU star, of course, Angel Reese, her initial reaction was, okay, we'll just go to the Obamas. That's what she stated. We'll just go to the
Bet.
Obamas because we know that they'll want it and they'll accept us. Okay. So we'll just go to the Obamas. But Angel Reese, she went ahead and stated that she's hurt by the comments, but her and LSU, of course, they accepted the invitation to go to the White House. And on the other hand, Caitlin Clark, she disagreed on air as well with Jill Biden, stating that she's never heard of that and that, you know, LSU deserves that nod only, and that it should be LSU who should go to the White House because they earned it. And so, Jamar, I need your comments on this, bro. What did you think of the comments made by Jill Biden? Is there racism here involved? Do you think somehow she saw her daughter in Caitlin Clark or something? I don't know. Maybe she saw her daughter on Iowa. I mean, it's all white. Just your thoughts on this, and then Chris, you follow up as well.
Man, you can definitely tell that she's married to Joe Biden. That was, you know, right along the lines of something that Sleepy Joe probably would say in another aspect. That's the first thing I thought of. So where do we do this at to where we celebrate, you know, runner-ups? Where since when do we do that? I mean, I understand that, you know, nowadays they want to give out participation trophies and stuff to youth, which bothers me. You know, that definitely bothers me. But so, yeah, by far. So, you know, I grew up in an era to where, you know, the best is recognized. You know, we don't celebrate runner-ups. We definitely don't celebrate anybody else, you know, prior to that either. So usually the best is celebrated. The best goes to the White House, the championship team, because I don't see them inviting the Philadelphia Eagles to the White House.
Exactly.
I don't see them inviting the Boston Celtics to the White House. I don't see them inviting the Philadelphia Phillies to the White House. So why all of a sudden we invite the Iowa Hawkeyes and Caitlin Clark to the White House? Like why are we doing this? Why are we putting why are we even like that's more so stirring, like engulfing the flame to an already like stupid situation to begin with. Because it's people. Caitlin's not bothered by what happened. Angel definitely didn't have a problem with what she did, but yeah, other people are making a bigger deal out of it than what it is. So why Jill Biden stirring the pot even more with this comment? Because that's all a result of what it is from that situation. So yeah, I can definitely tell that she is the president's wife for sure. And yeah, it was just complete asinine, Brandon.
That's because they thought she was gonna win.
Yeah, you think she was clearly rooting for Iowa.
Yeah, that's because they thought she was gonna win. She was supposed to. She's the supposed to be the new darling, man, and it didn't go that way because Angel Reese wasn't gonna have it, and LSU wasn't gonna have it. Ain't no way, bro. Michelle should have called her and been like, "What did you do,
bro?
Why are we doing this,
bro? Like for real, like real talk, dog. Like if I'm literally Joe Biden, Chris, I go to her immediately and I say to her afterwards, like, what the hell did you just say? Like, do you realize what you just said? Like, you messing me up for 2024, low key.
Exactly.
It's 2023. We got the election coming up. We got later on in 5 months, people finna start doing the they start doing the debates. They start doing all that around November and stuff, and it leads all the way until next year. That's finna start. And literally now you got you saying this, and now it just brings a whole can of worms that's just been open. And now people are really starting to look more into my administration now because of what you said. And so
And
it really, like Jamar stated, it really makes you question what the hell is going on with Joe, because she came out and just said this like, hold up.
sports, man, as much as we maybe not want to admit it, sports is an important topic all around the world. It's people's releases. Is it holds a unique spot in people's daily lives and hearts. So when you talk about sports, and it's not something that people want to hear, you put a unique target on your back when you do stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something we deal with. I mean, we are a big sports fan on EMSTP, and we get criticized. I mean, it comes with the territory. But I got to say this, fellas, in regards to Jill Biden, I'm really, really questioning now my vote for 2024, who the hell to vote for, because after she done stated this, it makes me wonder, is she low-key like racist, or like, because at the end of the day, like, you just got to give the due to the team that won. I don't know why
Absolutely.
she puts that out there. Do y'all fellas think in a way she saw her daughters, and Caitlin Clark, she saw her daughters and one of the Iowa kids? Because obviously LSU was all black, Iowa was all white. This was just the perfect contrast of a clash in here. And so many folks just defended Iowa so much. And they just really showed me like what people see when they see black, what people see when they see white. When they see Caitlin Clark, it looks like they see the innocent, that innocent look, Chris, can't do no wrong. Blonde hair, Caucasian girl, looks innocent. Meanwhile, she's a hell raiser behind closed doors. But in society, they view her as an angel,
She
etc.
is rude. She is not nice,
She
especially
is
on the
the
court.
biggest
She is
trash
not
talker in
nice.
college basketball.
She is not nice at all on the basketball court.
Not at all. Biggest trash talker. Biggest. Absolute biggest. And that's not even to mention to say the stuff she was saying at Louisville, like in the Elite Eight, but it never got put out there. Like it just got washed over for some reason. And so yeah, but it's like when folks see Angel Reese, like you said, Jamar, she said, I'm hood, I'm ghetto, and it seems like people see certain stuff when they see me compared to Clayton. And she was dead on. Dawn Staley, she stated in a press conference how she was angry at Caitlin Clark because of how she disrespected her team. And so LSU saw that, Jamar, and they like, all right, we SEC sisters, by the way, okay? So, SEC, includes us, it includes South Carolina. We hooping against each other. We two of the top teams in the country. All right, they beat y'all. We saw them disrespect y'all. We gonna take care of them for y'all. We gonna take care of them for y'all. They let them know prior to the game, Chris, that we coming at y'all. We coming at y'all, period. Yep. Like, they let them know, and they got up into them. They were more physical. They beat them up down low, and they were stronger than Iowa, period. Caitlin Clark showed out. The point guard showed out for Iowa. I can't remember the girl name, Gabby something. They hooped, but outside of that, LSU just had a whole ram of team. And so Reggie Terrell, good morning, Reg. He stated, white America was rooting for Iowa hard as hell. LOL, every white person who was not from Louisiana was rooting for Iowa and Clark. We know what this was about, man. Angel was following old girl around the court doing it. But like a wise man told me, don't disrespect me, then tell me how to respond to the disrespect. That's deep, Reg.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah. He said, but like a wise man told me, don't disrespect me, then tell me how to respond to the disrespect. Bro,
I love that.
We putting that out
there. Yeah.
I love that.
Me too. Oh,
Even
that's
after
a
that.
good one.
Yeah, that sums up that sums it up, man. That sums it up. And then Reggie Terrell stated South Carolina girls got the same rap. Yeah, yep. And so when it comes to literally what this brother just stated, it really breaks down this entire situation here of what white America wants, what they desire, and you know they want that top spot in basketball now. Let's also keep in mind, fellas, that basketball is supposedly been known as a black sport, and so anytime you got a chance for white folks to see their kids at the top against some black kids, oh man,
Mm-hmm.
this
They
is
be
like
chomping at the bit, bro. It
right.
was like Larry Bird's back. Larry Bird's back,
Mm-hmm,
basically. Basically, man.
mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Yeah.
You gonna have to do more than that if you want to take basketball back. That's for sure.
So yeah, man. Um, you know, it's very interesting, man, to just see how all this come about. And so I was really everything made sense to me, y'all. But when Jill Biden stepped in, that just let me know from the top. They just let me know if she's thinking that way, then what the hell else is all the other people?
Yeah.
All the other countries,
And let's
And so
not act like Angel Reese wasn't the number 2 player in the country when she decided to come when she was entering in the NCAA. Like she ain't no slouch. The number 2 player in the country. Not just
Facts.
anybody. The number 2 player in the country when she came into college basketball.
yeah,
Facts.
yeah.
Act like the woman didn't average 23 and 15 this year. Like, stop it.
Bro,
Act like she didn't have
killer.
34 straight double doubles, fellas, which is the most in Division One history. Not Brittany Griner, not Aja Wilson, not Lisa Leslie, not none of them. Angel Reese.
Great dude. Just and she did it. She came at your head every game, man. And that's who she was all year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so yeah, fellas, they done basically broke their piece down. I'm really questioning Jill Biden here going forward, man. Joe even stated he had to just say it was a joke. And now, oh my goodness, that's just so bad because it's just the wrong timing, fellas. Like the election coming up. Like you don't need that. Like, oh my goodness. And so yeah, talking about shooting yourself in the foot. Like she pulled out a Glock 40 shot. She put out a Glock 40 shot herself in the foot, man. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that oh my goodness. And so yeah, we'll see, man, how things progress with this going forward. But I'm very let me lastly ask you guys this, fellas. Are you guys proud of how Caitlin Clark responded to the situation? And are you proud of how Angel Reese and her teammates, how they've responded to the situation? So Jamar, how you feel about that, man?
I mean, I'm fine with either or. I mean, Caitlin, I think if I'm not mistaken, Caitlin basically said that Angel doesn't deserve any, basically paraphrasing, any of the backlash that she's getting.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, Caitlin as a competitor, I feel like I know she basically said that she didn't see it, but I know for a fact she saw it. And she didn't,
Oh,
I don't think she minded it. Because, I mean, if you can dish it, you're going to have to take it, right? So I don't think she minded. I darn sure don't mind how LSU and all them, responded either. So just because of the unnecessary backlash, it's stupid. It's all stupid in this regard. But from their responses, like it's fine to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Chris?
yeah. I mean, I appreciate what Caitlin said for sure. And again, she is a bucket. She's a phenomenal. She's not just a bucket. She is a phenomenal basketball player. Period. In general, you can't take that away from her. I actually love the way she played the game. I appreciate what she said in regards to Angel Reese, because she honestly she didn't have to. And she could have been spiteful. We all know she saw it. She could act like she didn't see it, but we all know she saw it. So
She
I
definitely
think that was good. It keeps women's basketball trending in the right direction, even though this happened, I think.
Right. Yeah, that's another interesting question, man. Is women's college basketball overtaking the men's? Because I mean, the way the ratings was, man, for this women's NCAA tournament, they were fantastic. And it's like I feel like fellas with women's, and you can give me your thoughts shortly, Jamar. Like with the women's side, I see superstars. I know superstars. And so when I'm going into the tournament, I'm looking forward to Caitlin Clark. I'm looking forward to Angel Reese. I'm looking forward to Alea Boston. But it's like with the men's side, you got these one and dones, and they only stand at their program for a year, maybe a second year, Chris. And so it's hard to really fall in love with the players, like you fall in love maybe with the names in men's college basketball because of the blue bloodness. But other than that, the blue bloods, they get upset in the first round. Look at Purdue. I mean, goddamn it, we had our expectations for Purdue. They dominated all year and got ousted in the first round, Jamar. I mean, I feel like with Purdue, I feel like Southwestern Baptist College. Thank you, Prescott JB. I feel like Southwestern Baptist College got a chance against Purdue. Look, Chris, okay? Purdue University Calumet got a chance against Purdue. Okay? God damn it, Jamar Goodman College got a chance against Purdue. Okay? This is how it works in college basketball. I feel like, goddamn it, Olivet Nazarene University, St. Xavier University got a chance against.
Oh man,
this is how it works in college basketball. Like, ain't nobody safe. Nobody's safe. And so with that, it's like you don't really necessarily want to watch the Final Four because you got Florida Atlantic and San Diego State. But in the Final Four, Caitlin Clark likely going to be around. Alea Boston going to likely be around. Angel Reese going to likely be around. So you be saying to yourself, like, I want to watch that. I'm looking forward to watching that, which I did. I watched the hell out of everything. And so, like,
oh yeah, it's definitely a mixed up. I mean, North Carolina didn't even make it to the tournament.
Right.
That's my team. They didn't even make it to the tournament. Hey, shout out to John L. Davis, 219, Florida Atlantic, by the way.
Yeah. He's
yes, sir.
Kid, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. I remember the first time I watched him play. It was against Chesterton High School. They were undefeated, number one team in the state, man. Is one of the best high school games I ever seen. Smoothest kid I ever seen on a basketball court, no doubt. And I watched a lot of Gary, Indiana basketball. The smoothest kid I ever seen on a basketball court. He don't force nothing.
He's different.
That's what's up. Yeah. Just quickly, Jamardo, let me ask you this, bro. Do you think that women's college basketball is catching up with the men's side?
Catching up? Absolutely. So,
oh yeah.
So here's the deal. So with me, like normally every year, it's like I'm excited for March Madness. As far as the men, I'm always excited for that. This year in particular, like there was a few players / teams in women's basketball I kept my eye on in the distance, seeing how far they go while I'm like engulfed in the men's upsets and this and that. As we get to the Sweet 16, I'm still keeping my eye on the women's side. Like, okay, like I'm liking how this play out. Elite Eight, I'm like, okay, we really in there now because I got the big names over there. I was looking forward to LSU, Caitlin Clark, that Louisville game, and then you got South Carolina that's been undefeated. So I've been paying attention. And then the Madness, it's like, and so by the time we got to the Final Four, if it wasn't for Florida Atlantic and John L. Davis, my whole attention probably would have been on women's basketball. Then when we got to the national championship, like I was more hyped and then, inclined for the women's championship game. I followed that more closely than I did the men's game because at that point, and when I was telling you about 2 weeks ago, it's UConn. UConn was the best team at that point. They won every game by double digits in this tournament. Yeah. So it was like I didn't really even watch the men's national championship game, to be honest. I didn't really watch it. I just game cast.
San Diego State was inferior. They weren't big enough. They weren't strong enough. It was a big difference.
It was UConn's year. It definitely was. You at a certain point you just saw it, like because everybody else was flailing away. We thought Duke and UConn was the two hottest teams. Duke got embarrassed by Tennessee, and UConn still standing. So I'm like, okay, like it's fun watching the upsets, but UConn got this. As far as the women, I was ready for LSU and that dog of a team to do their thing. I was ready for South Carolina to come in. I want to see what they can do against Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, people calling her like like probably argue the greatest college basketball player ever. So I'm thinking between the only other person that I remember that was in that same stratosphere with me growing up was Diana Taurasi with UConn.
Yep.
And so I'm like comparing the two, like, man, like this is great. This is great.
She was Larry Bird-esque. They put women's basketball in a fantastic position, man, for sure. And we get to see it again.
Yeah, they're coming back. They're coming back.
We get to see it again.
We get Caitlin back. We get Angel Reese and Flau'jae Johnson back. We get South Carolina coming back. Dawn Staley. We get the names back. These girls are getting the bag with NIL money. They're gonna stay those years.
Right.
Yeah. As a girl dad, man, I'm happy for sure.
This is true. So by the way, y'all, Chris Ford has daughters that are big in sports. They play basketball, they play softball, they do various sports, and they do so well. Chris, man, I look forward to your girls making it professional because you are putting that seed in them right now, and they put in work. And these girls, man, they embarrass me on the basketball court for real. I only want to see them on the court, man. I only want to see them. And so, like, this is a testament to a great dad here, man. And so he is advocating for women's sports as we do on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. And so it's a very interesting question. Has women college basketball catched up with the men's game? And right now, y'all, it appears that it has probably overtaken it because there's just so much volatility on the men's side, but you know what you're going to see on the women's side. And so, yeah. That being said, fellas, let's progress in the conversation and let's conclude today, y'all, with the NBA playoffs, all right? And so we got some situations here, fellas. In the Western Conference, we got Memphis, that's number 2. We got Denver, that's number 1. 3, Sacramento. So it was a big game that just occurred recently, y'all, with the Lakers and the Clippers. Clippers, if y'all don't know, they took care of the Lakers for the 11th straight time. The Lakers go all into the media blaming the back-to-back. Oh, we retired back-to-back. I just think the Clippers are a better damn team, and Kawhi he got LeBron's number. And so they
Shout out to Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. Speaking of Russell Westbrook, he left the Lakers and he went to the other locker room across the hall. And now Russell Westbrook looked like he's back. He looked like he's back. This man just put up huge numbers. He's putting up great numbers. He's very productive with this team. And so I'm curious to know, fellas, based off of the Western Conference, Chris, maybe you watch, I know you watch the NBA. If you're looking at the Western Conference right now, out of these teams, okay, I'm going to give you all the teams, all right? So number 1 is the Nuggets. Number 2 is the Grizzlies. Number 3 is the Kings. Number 4 is Phoenix with KD. Number 5 is, damn it, help me, Jamar. Who the
Warriors.
Yeah, exactly. Warriors. Number 6 is the Clippers. Number 7 is the Lakers. Number 8 is the Pelicans. And then you got OKC in number 10, and then number 9 is some other team.
Timberwolves.
The Timberwolves, right?
Yeah, Minnesota.
Yeah. And so based off of these teams, which team, let's just say, would you not want to play in the first round going into the Western Conference playoffs? Like if you the Kings and you got the Clippers, are you nervous? If you the Grizzlies and you got the Lakers, are you nervous? If you the Warriors and you playing against Kevin Durant in the first round, are you nervous? And Devin Booker. I can't wait to watch the West.
Bro, that is a series. That's the series. Phoenix versus the Warriors. Honestly, that's my favorite. Whoever comes out of that, I think is going to is going to win it all between those two teams. Honestly, I think that's going to be the best series. You got Andrew Wiggins coming back. The Warriors are going to be at full strength. You know how important their chemistry is to what they do. So just having him back in general is just going to put them in a whole different mode of basketball. Even though the Phoenix got Chris Paul over there, and I'm not a huge fan of Chris Paul and winning. they got a squad over there. KD fit right in there. That's gonna be the series to watch for sure.
Yeah, that Phoenix. Ooh, Phoenix and Golden State. This is what you get, man. But then also, Jamar, you got the Kings and the Clippers. Okay, you got these upstart Kings who scoring 180 points sometimes on folks. Okay, then you got Kawhi, man. You see what the Clippers been doing lately. They are hot. They the hottest team getting into the playoffs. Them in Phoenix. Then you got the Lakers. They've been balling since LeBron and got this little team with him now. LeBron look like, all right, I got me a team with me finally. And they actually got the second best record in basketball over the last 20 games. And so, Jamar, who do you, if you're a team, right, and a team that you don't want to face out of these teams, let's just go with all lower seeds, okay? Number 8, the Pelicans, okay? Let's not forget the Pelicans, y'all. They are 8-2 their last 10 games. Okay, and they hot. I'm just saying, they hot, Jamar. The Lakers.
I feel better if they had Zion.
Right.
He's not coming back.
Zion, then yeah, you would. Man, I wish he would come back. I just wish. Then you got the Clippers against the Kings. And then of course the Warriors and the Suns. Out of these lower seeds, man, which team you think got a chance to beat that higher seed?
Man, it's either the Warriors or the Clippers right now, man. It's either the Warriors or the Clippers. Andrew Wiggins gonna be back. That was the key component right there. You know, him coming back, that lets me know that, you know, the situation with his dad is I guess addressed enough. And also he's mentally ready to come back. Cause that's the other part of it. Like you can, you know, situation could be fine, but if you're not mentally there, then you're more of a liability than an asset. Right. So I'm assuming he's going to be an asset and not a liability. Because without Andrew Wiggins, I didn't see it. Now, you know, this is the same guy that was giving Jason Tatum fits in the finals, if I'm not mistaken.
He was. Yes,
the same guy that was giving Luka and them fits that they didn't count for last year in the Western Conference Finals that really like put that series away quick. If Golden State holds that 5 seed and goes against the Suns, like Chris said, that's going to be the one for the ages to me. Because Phoenix, in my opinion, probably has the highest ceiling of any team in the Western Conference. But Brandon, what I was saying, not last week, but the week before when I was on, if they end up going against them or the Clippers, especially the Clippers, with perimeter defenders, that's the team that can cause havoc.
Right.
That's the real team. I feel like that can really cause havoc. Because the Clippers are playing well. Paul George isn't there, but as we know, when Paul George comes back with a healthy Kawhi, and you got Brody out here we knew whoever he was going, he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder, and he's playing his behind off right now. That's a team that we've been talking about for a bunch of years. Like, can they live up to this, you know, to this battle of LA, whatever you want to call it? This will be the year.
Right.
And I'm hoping somehow, some way, the battle of LA somehow reaches in the playoffs. I'm all for that. I want to see it before somebody moves on with one of these teams.
Me too, man. I want to see it.
I want to see it.
Dude, that would be.
I really want it.
Good.
And the Lakers are capable of moving on and, you know, advancing in this playoffs. So are the Clippers. So that's my personal, you know, vice right now. I want to see that. But the Clippers and the Warriors for me are 1 and 2 as far as those lower seeds that can really, for real, make some noise.
Absolutely.
If healthy and everything, you know, consistent. Yes.
Yeah. This year is the Western Conference. It's like there's really no clear-cut runaway. But then again, all these teams are extremely good. And so it is going to be very, very interesting to watch. It's like a dream scenario to literally think that you can get Kevin Durant versus Steph Curry in the first round, LeBron versus Ja Morant. I mean, yeah. Go ahead, Jamar.
Watch out for that too. Ja Morant, watch out for that. He got something to prove. And they gonna back him like no other over there, man. He got something to prove.
Absolutely.
No, he does. I guess it's more so them missing Brandon Clark. I feel like that's a big blow. And then whenever Steven Adams come back, they I feel like they need him. But nevertheless, Memphis, no matter who's on the floor, they're gonna give you all they got. But Chris, I know you're a Thunder fan. How do you feel for
I was just
your?
getting ready to say, bro. I was just getting ready to say it, man. I was like, let's not forget, man. My boys over there, OKC. Don't so basketball is a type of sport where one person can dominate a series and will a team to a series win. We've seen it. We've seen Dirk do it. We've seen numerous amount of stars go and will their teams in the series wins. My boy SGA, man, if he can go out and just continue to do what he's been doing all year, that team is scrappy. That team is they got so much what's the word I'm looking for here?
Grit. You got
yeah, grit. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the point guard, Josh Giddey, man, the triple double guy, Jalen Williams, figuring his way out, getting buckets, man. Even once that dude Joe.
So do they remind you of like a younger? Well, not gonna say younger. They about the same age. Another version of Memphis in a sense.
As much as I don't like Memphis, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then they do. They have the.
And then
SGA is so good, man. He's so good.
He is. And then not to mention that I'm pretty sure you keep this in the back of your head, but a lot of people forget that, next year, Chet Holmgren, he was supposed to be that guy, that transcendent player that was supposed to, partner up with SGA rather. I'm just saying that's a whole nother component right there.
Yep, he'll be there next year.
They was talking about him coming back in the playoffs. I was like, no, let's not do that. But
he was teasing it on I think IG. If I'm not mistaken.
He was. But if SGA can dominate the series, they can make some noise. They can at least make it interesting, for sure.
Okay, they can make it interesting in the play-in which they will likely play the Lakers.
So let me real quick. So right now they would match up against Minnesota. They get past them, and then they'll play the loser of. They probably end up playing the Pelicans at that point. If they get in and play Denver, do you give them a chance against Denver?
They soft. In my opinion.
I mean, it's true though.
They soft, bro. They the softest number one. They the softest number
one. They're very vulnerable. Absolutely,
man. I think the hard-nosed style of basketball that the Thunder chooses to play will really, really, really disrupt what they do over in Denver. And man, as great as Jokic is, man, I just feel like he never looking to just destroy his opponents. He always mellow his way through the game, for lack of a better word. I don't know if that sounds right, but it just don't ever seem like he's just trying to kill.
It's like he's like a smooth operator, but it doesn't have that aggressive killer instinct. Maybe he does have a killer instinct, but it's not like flashy. It's not like, I think it's like a poison type killer instinct as far as like a bang type killer instinct, if that makes sense.
Yep, that makes, I feel that.
So yeah,
I'm calling the upset. I'm calling the upset.
Right.
Brandon, let me
go ahead, Jamar.
I just want to shift gears to the Eastern Conference, and let me ask you basically the same question that you kind of asked us in the Western Conference. Anybody on the lower end in the East that can make some noise. I got one team in mind, but what are you seeing?
Man, so with the East, the standings, right? We got number one, the Bucks, 2-6.
Bear the deer.
No, 2-7. Celtics, 3-6.
Yep.
The Cavs and the Knicks. I'm very interested in that series. And then what is it? Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn's already set to play Philly. Let's see. Number 7 is who we got number 7? Let me actually pull up the standings because
we got Miami at 7.
Oh yeah, we got Miami at 7, and we got who at 8?
Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta, and then Toronto and the Bulls.
Boo.
No, not in the East. The West is very open, but in the East, I don't see no way in hell that Atlanta beats Milwaukee. Milwaukee's too good. If the Bulls, our Bulls, y'all can get into the play-in, and they are actually going to get in the play-in, and so they'll play. Possibly, I believe, Jamar, they'll play the Heat the first round. Who would they play, the Raptors or the Heat?
The Raptors.
Okay, and so they will play the Raptors in the first round, and then the Hawks and the Heat will play, and whoever win that, right, will go on to the playoffs,
to the
and
7.
then the loser will have to play the winner 9 and 10, right? And so, yeah, basically, for me, you know, the Bulls have been playing hot lately, but our Bulls struggle hard. They struggle hard. They just got a lot of holes. So honestly, fellas, no. I don't see no lower seeds here. Miami, they have been interesting, and maybe this is where you're heading, Jamar. But the thing about Miami, I just don't know what the hell the problem is. They've just been so inconsistent. And so, do they have a chance against? Right? Do they have a chance against Boston? Maybe.
I mean,
but I don't see them winning the series against them. No,
and that's
interesting.
And that's the thing. That's my team. That's the team I was going with, the Miami Heat, for a couple of reasons here. One, I mean, I made a Facebook status, and it's basically been the same, you know, identity for the last couple of years. They can be a first round exit and a championship contender within the same game. That's who they are. They have a wide range of outcomes. So you have that possibility. They hit that ceiling consistently, then look out. The second thing is, remember last year they played Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, and it came down to Jimmy Butler taking a stupid shot at the end, in my opinion, on that shot attempt. But nevertheless, that was a Miami team that couldn't score the ball to save their life. They couldn't score the ball, and they took Boston to 7. So that lets me know they match up well against Boston. They added Kevin Love. Tyler Hero looks a lot more healthier. It's like the role players are playing better. I think they are peaking at the right time.
Their record has drastically gotten better as the playoffs have come along. They have been winning low key quietly, Miami as of late, and so this is very interesting. You bring them up, and so, well, they 5-5. They last 10, but they 43-38. And so Miami what makes them really dangerous, though, Jamar, is Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, you know, Bam Adebayo. Their experience. They have been there for so long. Eric Spoelstra is a great head coach, right? He's been known as one of the best head coaches in basketball. And so if you do mention them, I see your point. That's one team you don't want to see in the first round. That's not going to be a walk-through series. It's not going to be something.
And I feel like the Kevin Love addition is going way under the radar. Like, the man can still play.
The
man can still play.
He can shoot that. He can shoot the ball, man. He's going to be able to stretch the floor for them. Miami is scary, for sure.
That'd be interesting.
I like it. When you made that status, when you made that Facebook post, I read it and I was like, man, that's spot on, bro. Spot on. They either look like a finals contender or a first round exit.
I mean, it's true. And the Kevin Love thing, like the rebounding part, I think that's the biggest part, because, you know, they lack size, and rebounding against bigs, you know, in the last couple of years in the playoffs has been an issue. I mean, Kevin Love addresses a lot of that, even though he's not the tallest guy, but he can still rebound his behind off for sure. So, I mean, with all those healthy components, a healthy Kyle Lowry makes a big difference too, because he actually looked pretty good. And the eye test, like watching them, like I'm looking at, like, they look really good. Like they look better than that 7 seed that they're showing right now. So
Very interesting. Yeah, Jamar, just to address the comments. Good morning, Matt. Good morning, Matt Arrington from the No Offense Network. He stated, tap it in and show some love and share. Prescott JB, good morning, bro. He stated, are y'all going to torture yourselves by watching the Bulls not play defense in the play-in? I'm going to watch, but I ain't got no high expectations for them. And so we'll watch, because the thing is we all kind of know if the Bulls get that AC and they play Milwaukee, they ain't got a damn chance. On the other hand, Prescott JB also stated, Heat had the ability to beat the Celtics. No one is afraid of Jamie St. Patrick. You know, St. Patrick off the Power Show. On the other hand, Al Williams stated, good morning, Al, from the Al and Power Show. These aren't the same Heat from a few seasons ago. And so, Al, I see your point. This is definitely not the same Heat from a few seasons ago. But maybe could that experience that they've been to the conference finals for the last year. They went to the NBA finals. I know the bubble don't really count, but they were a 6 seed, right, Jamar? When they went to the finals in 2020, nobody really had them doing much of anything. And so they are built. They're like a team that's just built for this time of year, seem like. That's what they're built for.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, they have a bunch of veterans. On surface, like Celtics should beat the Heat. Like they should. Celtics been playing excellent all year. Jason Tatum's been like an MVP low-end candidate all year. Mm-hmm. But I just cannot write off the Heat. I just wouldn't be surprised if the Heat went in 7 or something, right? I can't like say that's impossible. I just know what I seen last year, and I know what I'm seeing now.
Right. This is very, very interesting. Jamar is putting us up on the Heat right now, and y'all, man, we could very well be biting our tongue a couple weeks from now and be like, damn, Jamar put us up. Nobody saw. On the other hand, Al stated something is missing from the Heat. He said Heat culture ain't the same. He said Kyle Lowry has a big booty and he is trash. And then he said he ain't beating the Celtics. And so, the thing is the truth is, Al, we're really not saying that the Heat will beat the Celtics. We just saying that it's possible they can give them a real serious run. A run that can come down to 7 games, a run that could come down to a deep 6 games, a run that could come down to very clutch moments, a few shots here and there to decide a game. And so, do I see Jimmy Butler easily getting swept out of the playoffs? Hell no. I see Jimmy Butler putting up a war against anybody.
Absolutely. And then the last thing I'll say, like, don't make no mistake about it. I got Milwaukee winning it all. And I probably got Milwaukee and Philly in the Eastern Conference Finals. But I'm not overlooking this Miami Heat team.
Right.
In the first round.
Right. Very interesting. Yep. And Al stated, no way Heat winning. I guarantee Heat loses. And so we hear you, Al. It's going to be very interesting to see how things turn out. On the other hand, I'm rooting for my Bulls. I hope my Bulls do well, and I want to see them at least lose to the Bucks. That'd be great. Because Patrick Beverly,
like last year,
like Patrick Beverly has come around and he's changed things in our locker room. Bulls hasn't been as bad. I wish they would have got him at the beginning of the season, Jamar. They've been all right since he's been there. They've been they've been defending a little bit, like they've actually played a little defense because they ain't played no damn defense at all. But they've been trying with Patrick Beverly, they've been trying. So FYI world, we are looking forward to the NBA playoffs, man. Western Conference, y'all, is loaded. We can't wait to watch the Western Conference. It is just a dream scenario to possibly have, in the first round, the Denver Nuggets going up against, let's just say, Minnesota or the Pelicans, who has won 8 out of 10. Second round, Grizzlies and the Lakers, LeBron, AD doing what they do. Then you got the potential of Kawhi, and the Clippers going up against the Kings. And then the icing on the cake, Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker and Chris Paul up against Andrew Wiggins and that trio in Golden State in the first round. what a dream scenario, man. So we looking forward to the Western Conference playoffs. Jamar just put us up on game on the Miami Heat. Y'all watch the Miami Heat. They are built for this time of year. And now that the brother mentioned it, I'm on deck now. I'm kind of watching this team. We'll see how they do, but they built for this time of year. And so it's very interesting all over the scenario, all over the place. And so we thank y'all for rocking with us this morning on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. We talk baseball, be in tune with baseball. Go Cubs, go Sox. All right. We done talked the Caitlin Clark injury situation. We done talked the NBA playoffs. So we appreciate everybody rocking with us. But Chris, as you know, before we head out, bro, we do final thoughts and shout outs. And so as we head into the weekend, my brother, any final thoughts or shout outs as we head into the weekend?
Oh yeah. So shout out to the Atlanta Braves. They look really good. I didn't get to say that earlier.
Okay.
They look like the favorite to me early on in baseball. Shout out to Angel Reese for being unapologetically you, as she likes to say. I love it. Again, shout out to Jonell Davis, representing for 219. And watch out for the Thunder, man. Yeah, watch out for the Thunder. They can make some noise.
All right, watch out for the Thunder, baby. All right. And so, Jamar, any final thoughts or shout outs, man, as we head into the weekend?
Yeah, I got two. Of course, shout out to Chris for joining us today, even though he's wearing the Rivals colors, but you know, that's what I expected when we invited him on this today. So it's nothing but fun, competitive banter.
Appreciate it.
Love you, bro. Second, I definitely want to shout out to Tiger Woods here. So the Masters is happening. I am a huge Tiger Woods fan. He's the reason why I even picked up golf clubs and played high school golf for 3 years. And just so I know it's not the same Tiger Woods as we, knew growing up, but just the fact that he's still out there, he's still competing. And he's the only reason why I'm like actually watching, because it's for whatever reason, I think a lot of people still have the Tiger effect, just what he does and what he brings to the game of golf. And I know he mentioned in the press conference, he don't know how much more he has left. So I'm going to appreciate whenever he plays the next, I don't know how many more tournaments he got left. So I just know the time is coming short. So I just want to give a shout out to Mr. Tiger Woods on that one.
Absolutely, yes. And Chris, thank you, my brother. You have been rocking with us from day one. Every time it's time to come on, you always show up, man. Chris was on early. He beat me, bro. He was 7:40, okay? 7:40 Guadalupe time, 6:40 Chicago time. Our brother was ready, man, to come ready to chop it up with us this morning. We truly appreciate you, man. You've been rocking with us from day one. We love you for that, man. Blessings to you, your family, man. Continue to do what you do. You're an inspiration to so many. Your story is a beautiful story, and continue to, man, just do what you're doing, because you are making waves and showing other people that there's no excuses. And so appreciate you, dog. Appreciate you for joining us on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast.
Thank you for having me, man. Much love to both of you guys, man, and I appreciate you having me. I was happy to be here.
Yes. And so we thank you, world, for rocking with us this morning on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. We got a lot of great sports to watch this weekend, NBA playoffs heating up, etc. Baseball just getting started, etc. And so we thank y'all for y'all support. Continue to rock with us. May you all have a great weekend, a blessed weekend, and a nice Easter Sunday for those who are believers. So we appreciate you all. May you all have a blessed weekend. Peace.
Peace out.